I was born on the brink of the 90s, so I am going to claim the 90s baby status, much to controversy. But after the year before, the 90s when I was born, the Good Friday Agreement was signed, and that was a time of huge transformation within Northern Ireland, from a place where many people lost family members to starting the combined effort to the path for peace. It was a time where two polar opposite ideologies finally came together to form a new society where they could both coexist and live in peace. My personal experience of transformation came from living with someone who suffered from alcohol addiction, and that person was my Uncle Barney. He lived with me, my mum and my brother from I was 10 years old. And Barney is an example of how the imprints of trauma can go on to manifest. And although many people here may assume, oh, she wasn't born then, what does she know? She's a Zoomer. She's one of them people from Generation Z. She's one of those dilemmas we have in this modern age. What I can tell you is through my experience of helping look after my uncle, but also in my profession of mental health nursing, I have come to see how the manifestation of those who once had invisible scars has now come to the forefront of our society. So whilst Barney lived with us and his alcohol addiction began to spiral out of control, within the public health arena, alcohol addiction was gaining a lot of momentum and increasing on a global, local and national stage. So globally, alcohol addiction still remains one of the global burden of diseases and accounts for up to 3 million deaths per year, still worldwide. And nationally, deaths had increased by 18.6% from 2019 to 2022. And right here in Northern Ireland, it still remains the drug of choice. And I know we're in a bar, but the point of it is when things get out of moderation. And it now has increased by 56% in terms of alcohol-related deaths in the past 10 years. So as I said, looking after and living with Barney was the key to my personal transformation. And one thing I would like to point out is Barney wasn't someone who you would look at and all these stereotypes we create of what an alcoholic would look like. In fact, he didn't even drink alcohol, and into his late 20s often tried to get the taste of alcohol away with Coca-Cola, as my mummy always said. He was always slagged by his friends because he couldn't quite manage to get the drink down. But that all quickly changed as Barney went on to develop schizophrenia and, like I said, alcohol addiction. So today and tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you a short piece I wrote, hypothetically to him, in a bid to try and understand and also put across my experience as both not just a mental health nurse, but the real and raw experience you have when you care for someone with alcohol addiction. So I'm going to be sharing that with you now. Addiction appears to me like a slow suicide. You sit there stationed to the right chair of the kitchen table, which I came to be told was yours when I was through out of it. Barney always had this chair in our house, and everybody who came in knew that this was his chair. In one hand, you had the cheapest packet of cigarettes, and in the other, you had a glass of a clear substance that I always thought resembled water. But I now know this substance to be the despicable vodka, often known as the devil's drink, and I now know why it's gained that reputation. Barney, there were times that you began to drown in the alcohol, and I remember one particular time whilst I was lying on the sofa, you had fallen off the sofa and smashed onto the wooden planks of the floor, and the force of you hitting the floor had wakened me from my sleep, and I turned around to see you with your mouth laid gaped, your eyes vacant, the blue glint everyone always said you had was now absent, and your pupils had shrunk. And in that moment, I had thought the unthinkable. I thought that you were dead. But then as you began to move, it became evident to me that you were alive, but the alcohol had overcome the blood-brain barrier to the point you were no longer in control. And those times became more often as time went by, and the havoc the poison had caused became more evident. You began to waddle in short distances, requiring a rollator, and t-shirts that once sat neatly round your solid figure now drown your feeble and twig-like structure. My heart always sank when I saw it again. We would often find you surrounded in pools of crimson, and your head was indented by the obstruction of many objects through the many falls you had. Every time, and your eyes would continue to glisten at the vodka. Yes, I know you tried your best, but we all lay on roller coasters of emotion. And for everyone here who may have experience of alcohol addiction or looking after someone, which I would say is a lot of people for where we live, you know, when people relapse, you feel like you're at the bottom of that mountain again, and there's no way that you're getting back up when they start to drink again. But then when they have recovery, it's like an unfulfilled wish, and you're counting down the days of when it's going to relapse again. So with Barney developing this addiction, I had decided to enter mental health nursing at 18, and I'm now 24. And when I entered mental health nursing, I went into it to try and save my uncle. I had a savior complex that I could save him if I'd done this profession. But that soon didn't become the reality, as noted in 2022 in our statistics, up to 300 people die from alcohol addiction. And Barney was one of those statistics, unfortunately. And it made me angry, and the more I learned about addiction, my tongue was no longer rust, because I looked and I thought, why is this allowed to happen? Yes, people say the addict has to take some form of ownership, but we need to be doing something to help these people. People are traumatized from the troubles, but they weren't given any intervention to stop the manifestation of their trauma. And our hearts were shattered when we lost Barney, because Barney was a quick-witted, loved handyman known in every street corner. And he was often referred to as the Robin Hood in his prime, much to controversy back then, but I suppose he had the right idea of trying to help those in need. And when we lost Barney, I decided that mental health nursing, yes, I went into it to help him, but is this what I want to do? Because I did feel like a failure, because I hadn't saved him. I hadn't done what I set out to do. And I was asking myself the what ifs, and I began to lose my passion a bit with it. And then I realized, if I take a back seat, I'm not going to be helping these other people who are in the early stages of entering the same vicious cycle Barney found himself in. And basically, I continued down my path of mental health nursing, and I want to be part of the fight to get addiction recognised here, and finally let people see what the real and raw emotions are of those who care for them. Thank you.